Shiv Roy is considered the most hateful villain of the show by many Succession fans. She doesn't just hurt people, she destroys them and sucks them dry. Like her mother said, she knows how to twist a knife. Shiv told her husband she cheated on him on their wedding night. She betrayed her brothers on the final CEO vote. She threatened the victims of workplace sexual misconduct.
Perhaps we should not fire her for receiving pictures of my dick?
Despite Shiv's trademark Roy cruelty, she actually did try to be different from her family. She tried to pave her own path by pursuing a career in politics, working for her father's enemy. She married someone from a different socioeconomic class. Tom grew up middle class in the Midwest. She even had fleeting moments when she showed genuine love and compassion towards her family. So, why does Shiv always abandon the good in her and opt for cruelty and betrayal? What made her incapable of love? This video will analyze the psychology of Siobhan Roy.
You want to play Bitey?
Bitey?
Playing Bitey is one of my favorite scenes in Succession. At a work party, Shiv invited her husband to play this game where they bite each other as hard as they can. First one to stop loses. This scene precisely shows how Shiv views love. To love is to inflict pain. And on the flip side, accepting love means getting hurt. This is the running theme in Shiv's relationship with Tom. They used each other, betrayed each other, and in the end, reunited with each other just to use each other again. Even if Shiv had a different partner, she would still repeat the cycle like running on a hamster's wheel. To understand Shiv's psychology, we need to first understand the brain's tendency to seek out what feels familiar, even if it's familiar pain. Familiar feels safe. Familiar pain feels safer than unknown joy. For Shiv, a healthy relationship is a foreign concept. What's familiar is toxicity and chaos, manipulation and betrayal. This is what love feels like for Shiv ever since she was a child. This is how she was treated by her parents, who were her first blueprint for relationships. Seeking pain might sound counterintuitive. Isn't it human nature to seek pleasure and avoid pain? The pleasure-pain principle acts on our biological drive, like eating food to avoid hunger, but the brain's subconscious likes what's familiar. In other words, our nervous system prefers known suffering over unfamiliar happiness. So let's take a deeper look into how Shiv's parents conditioned her to be incapable of love. Shiv is the youngest of the 4 Roy siblings. As the only daughter, her father affectionately calls her Pinky, and it turns out Pinky is a very fitting nickname for Shiv. Growing up in a patriarchal family, she was overlooked and underestimated. Just like how the pinky finger seems like the smallest and the weakest, but is responsible for 50% of her grip strength. Shiv was never really considered a potential successor to her father's media empire. Even her husband was a more plausible threat in the eyes of her brothers.
Shiv, should I be worried about Tom?
So Shiv tried to pave her own path. She went into politics working for Gil. Gil is similar to Bernie Sanders. He's a left-wing Democratic senator on a mission to take down billionaire oligarchs like Shiv's father, Logan Roy. Shiv's career move was as much an independent girl boss declaration as it was a call for attention. If Shiv can prove she's capable of destroying her father, maybe she'd be taken seriously. She played her hand well at first. She got dirt on her father's company, a major corporate cover-up of sexual assaults and mysterious employee disappearances, the type of scandal that could implicate and destroy Logan. Shiv used this to negotiate a deal between her father and her boss. Logan agreed to call off his news network's attacks on Gil's personal life, and in exchange, Shiv would not expose the scandal. She was able to protect Gil's image and his political campaign, proving herself to be a competent campaign strategist. But recognition doesn't come easily from a narcissistic parent. For Logan, the world is a chess game. His children think they're players in this game, competing for the CEO position and their father's approval. But in reality, they're just pawns. Logan loves having his children wrapped around his finger, and picking a successor is his ultimate weapon. The way he uses it on Shiv shows exactly how a master manipulator dismantles his victim's psychological defense. Logan had private conversations with each of his children to discuss the future of the company, selling to private equity versus fighting to keep it under family control. But this was just an excuse. What Logan wanted was to reel Shiv in so she stopped working for Gil. At first, Shiv pretended she didn't care. She'd be fine with just cashing out. Indifference was her self-defense.
Yeah, selling would be great. No more blowback with my career.
But when Logan pushed a little, she just casually laid out a well-thought-out strategy pitch.
Shutter the businesses that burn cash, restructure for the future. Expand parks, expand cruises, lose, news.
Clearly, she had given this a lot of thought. This was the first step of Logan's manipulation, getting Shiv to reveal her ambition so Logan could use it as leverage.
I have to name Kendall.
His next step was to play with Shiv's emotions. Bringing up Kendall triggered her jealousy and resentment built up from years of sibling rivalry. Provoking that reaction compromised her rational thinking and brought up the competitive side of her. Now it wasn't just about becoming CEO, it was about beating her brothers. The seed had been planted. Now it was time to craft a beautiful lie.
And what I've decided I'd like to do is to formally ask you to come in and be the next chief executive of this company.
Shiv's immediate reaction was doubt. She had her guard up. This clearly wasn't her first time being tested like this by her father. So Logan gave her a final nudge. He picked up the phone and threatened to tweet about selling the company. This created a sense of urgency. There was no time to think or doubt. It was now or never. And just like that, Shiv accepted the offer and walked right into the trap. After this conversation, she burned her bridges with her boss by provoking an argument and getting herself fired. And Logan, he never fulfilled his promise. So, how did Shiv drop the ball? Accepting the CEO offer wasn't the mistake. Quitting her job was. The second she quit, she lost her leverage, the power to influence Logan's enemy. She also lost her agency, the ability to build her own identity and career, and more importantly, the ability to escape her family's toxicity. It might seem like Shiv should have known better. She was skeptical from the start.
If it's real, this is real.
And she asked her husband for a second opinion. Tom suggested she keep her options open, run Gil's campaign on the down low while engaging with Logan. So why did Shiv mess up against her better judgment? In psychology, this can be explained by repetition compulsion. Do you have that one friend who keeps getting back together with a terrible partner?
Can you believe this happened?
No.
Repetition compulsion is the brain's unconscious urge to repeat painful or unresolved experiences from the past. We do this not to suffer, but to find a sense of control and resolution. We want to rewrite the narrative and change the outcome. The pattern Shiv keeps repeating is trying to win her father's validation. She knows Logan has a track record of betrayal, but she still holds on to the fantasy that this time he'll be different, that this time she can be the chosen one. Even if the outcome is getting screwed over again, it's still better than being ignored and forgotten by Logan. I mean, just look at Connor, the eldest son. And betrayal is a familiar pain for Shiv. Like we discussed before, that familiarity brings a sense of comfort and feels like fatherly love. Once we understand repetition compulsion, it's easy to see how Shiv's marriage mirrors her relationship with her father, except in her marriage, she's the perpetrator.
You're not gonna let me get hurt.
In the next part of the video, we'll unpack exactly how Shiv ruined her best chance at happiness. Shiv chose Tom for one reason and one reason only. Tom was servile. He was eager to please people in power to climb the ladder. Their marriage was transactional. Tom wanted money and status, while Shiv needed him as an ally. As a department head in Logan's company, Tom was Shiv's eyes and ears in upper management. Not romantic, I know, but this doesn't automatically make their relationship unsalvageable. Money doesn't invalidate love. They could still foster a loving relationship in the day-to-day. And this is what Tom tried to do. He was Shiv's emotional anchor. When Shiv was having a hard time choosing between the CEO offer and her politics career, Tom listened to her and offered advice.
Well, let's break it down.
Ironically, Shiv did to Tom exactly what Logan did to her. She gave Tom a false promise to keep him compliant. Tom was under the impression that Shiv wanted to support him to become the CEO.
I thought that it was something that we wanted for me.
But Tom swallowed his disappointment and prioritized Shiv's goals. Whenever Logan messed with Shiv's head, making her feel small and neglected, Tom was there to lift her up.
I want to be sitting at that table.
Hey. You are sitting at the table.
You could say Tom was only nice to Shiv because he was power hungry, but I think Tom did love Shiv because he understood her most vulnerable moments. Shiv's rock bottom was after Logan passed away. She was grieving her father and the lost opportunity to repair their relationship. By this time, Shiv and Tom were already estranged, but when Tom walked into Shiv crying in an empty meeting room in the office, he knew she needed a shoulder to cry on, even though Shiv put up a tough front and tried to push him away.
Come on.
In moments like this, Tom could see through her, and he cared.
It's okay. It's okay.
Shiv would never admit this, but she needed Tom. Tom gave her what her parents couldn't: attention, patience, and compassion. If Shiv was Tom's ticket to wealth, Tom was Shiv's best chance at a healthy marriage. But she loved Tom the only way she knew, her father's way. Shiv's mom said Logan never saw something he loved without wanting to kick it to see if it would return, and Shiv kicked Tom until he didn't want to come back, until he also kicked back. On their wedding night, Shiv dropped some truth bombs. She told Tom she cheated. She also demanded an open marriage. She used 2 tactics to get Tom to agree to these unfair terms. The first one is foot in the door. This is a common persuasion tactic. It gets someone to agree to a big request by first having them agree to a small favor. It works because people tend to stay consistent. If they say yes once, they'll do it again. Shiv first told Tom she cheated on him with one person, her ex Nate, who by the way was invited to their wedding. She then followed with the bigger request of wanting to sleep with not just Nate, but anyone she wanted, aka an open marriage. The other tactic she used is called the nibble, or retrading the deal. This is when someone makes a last-minute demand after the main agreement is already reached. It uses people's emotional commitment to closing the deal, so they wouldn't walk away over a minor change. In this case, Shiv and Tom already signed a prenup and already got married. The main deal was already closed. Shiv knew very well that Tom wanted to marry into the Roy family. He loved money too much to walk away. If Shiv had an honest talk with Tom earlier, like when they were dating, Tom would have had time to think and push back. This is why the timing is so crucial. Having this conversation the night they got married essentially cornered Tom into accepting terms he wasn't comfortable with and guaranteed that Shiv would get whatever she wanted. Sounds familiar? This is exactly the kind of dirty move Logan used on Shiv. Shiv also showered Tom with insults in their marriage. These insults were sugar-coated as jokes or slip into their pillow talk, but they all served one purpose: to lock in the power dynamic.
It's like a real...
Robot?
Agricultural.
Shiv mocked Tom's taste in suits and called the way he walked agricultural. By making fun of Tom's rural Midwestern roots, she's implying that even though he married into wealth, he was still an outsider to elite society and still not taken seriously. We have to admit, though, Shiv was witty and sardonic with her name-calling. She coined plenty of derogatory labels for Tom: the phony man, empty suit, meat puppet, to name a few.
When you said, say something filthy or do something dirty.
Pillow talk can get spicy, nothing wrong with that, but only when both people involved feel comfortable with it. Tom clearly didn't. His feelings were hurt when Shiv was, quote-unquote, being horrible for fun while they were intimate.
You're not good enough for me. That's why
Maybe.
you love me, even though I don't love you.
Shiv justified it by saying to Tom, well, you can't ask for rough sex, then get all sensitive about it. But here's the trap. Once she framed insults as jokes or pillow talk, she wouldn't need to take accountability. If Tom got upset, then he couldn't take a joke, or he was too sensitive and taking things out of context. Either way, his feelings would never get validated. From the outside, Tom's career looked like a dream. Nepotism carried him up the ladder, from head of parks and cruises to running a major conservative news network. But behind those fancy titles, he was just a corporate punchbag, taking the fall for decisions he never made.
Right-wing ogre at your service.
When Tom took over cruises, he inherited serious corporate crimes that happened before his time: sexual assault and possibly the murder of employees. To protect the company and himself, Tom ordered the destruction of incriminating documents. From that moment on, he was tortured by the fear of going to jail. Granted, he probably deserved it for helping cover up a crime, but what's more heartless was Shiv's dismissive attitude when Tom needed her. When he expressed his fear and anxiety, she didn't have a fraction of the patience Tom had always given her.
I don't know what I can say to you. I don't get why you keep wanting to talk about it. Honey, I don't know what else there is to say.
If you think Shiv's complete disregard for Tom's prison fears was cruel, it gets worse. To appease the board and federal investigators, Logan decided they needed a scapegoat. Tom's involvement was minimal compared to Logan and more tenured executives like Jerry. They were the ones who orchestrated the decade-long cover-up, from hush money to coercing and threatening victims. And yet Shiv casually proposed Tom as the fall guy. Most people would be devastated if their partner might go to prison, but not Shiv. To her, it just made practical sense. Tom was high-profile enough to make a point, and sacrificing him would protect the company and the Roy family inner circle. This was when Tom finally realized he was nothing but expendable to Shiv. They were not a team, and Shiv never had his best interest at heart. In this emotionally abusive marriage, he was devalued, betrayed, and his boundaries were repeatedly overstepped. Being incapable of love cost Shiv her marriage. Even though she and Tom got back together in the end, after Tom beat Kendall for the CEO seat, things were clearly not the same anymore. There was no more love, only business. Shiv repeated the cycle of emotional abuse she grew up with. The unresolved generational trauma made her constantly anticipate getting hurt and screwed over. But ironically, that anticipation was exactly why she got screwed over by Tom. She thought she'd be safe hiding under her tough exterior. She thought hurting others would make her powerful and invincible. But betrayal is a two-way street. The only way to break this cycle is to stop playing the losing game called trying to win Logan's approval. Even after Logan died, Shiv was still playing by his rules, trying to get to the center of power by stepping on the corpse of her loved ones. It's difficult to break this pattern because it means taking responsibility for her own life. She would need to claim her agency, create her own happiness, and stop blaming her misery on her parents. After Logan died, Shiv forgave him.
You did okay, Dad.
But I think the person she needs to forgive the most is herself, or her inner child. She needs to forgive herself for never getting her father's approval. It was never her fault to begin with. When she can finally let go of chasing Logan's validation, only then can she be capable of love.